Is America posturing for war with Venezuela? We already know that Donald Trump has moved an aircraft carrier fleet to the South American waters. We now know that Donald Trump has designated President Maduro of Venezuela, as a member of a terrorist organization. And Donald Trump's boat attacks in the Caribbean that are happening without any sort of oversight of law are connected to Donald Trump's claim that Venezuela is a major source of drugs coming into the United States. And therefore, Donald Trump is posturing to, and openly posturing, to remove Maduro as the leader of Venezuela. Now, President Maduro is not a good person. He's an authoritarian dictator. But that does not give America the right to go in, remove the dictator and declare war and openly try to topple Venezuela's regime. And the fact that he continues to do this, and it has gone beyond 6 months, means that he needs to get congressional authorization for use of war powers. The War Powers Act requires him to get congressional authorization for any military operation that goes past 6 months. But Donald Trump continues to push towards a very warlike posture without even considering going to Congress. That is a problem, because that shows that Donald Trump, on one hand, is using the military to create and manufacture a war that is wholly unnecessary and wholly without evidence. And he is also inciting and provoking this war because he is seeing that his domestic popularity and domestic policies are abject failures, and his domestic popularity is tanking. With American presidents, when there is war and when there's Congress authorizing war powers to a president, presidential poll numbers tend to go up. And that could very much be one of Donald Trump's reasons. Another one being distracting from his failing domestic policies and tariffs that he's quietly taking down and rescinding, so that food prices can come down, because that's the only way he can think about lowering inflation costs, is rescinding the tariffs that he himself implemented, meaning that he is quietly eating his words. And while he does that, while he deploys the DHS police state all over the United States, causing a ruckus and creating discord, distress, and demonstrations all across this country and protests, he is posturing for war with Venezuela as another distraction from that. And then you have the Jeffrey Epstein files, which now he can openly say, I have done everything I can do. Pam Bondi can now go ahead, and she is in charge of what happens. And what will Pam Bondi come out and say? Well, I can't release this information at this moment because I opened investigations based on this information, and this information is now going to be part of the evidence of these other people who are possibly implicated in the papers of the Epstein files. And so I believe that, and even if she doesn't do that, the second option that she's going to have is to release the Epstein files, but have them be so heavily redacted, is that the only way that they could be made sense of is if survivors go through them and point out in every instance which is them, which is their testimony, which is their incident. And if these survivors come out and speak those names out in public, they will be subjected to legal liability. And that's why the exercise has to be that when these redacted files, if these redacted files are released, that they are given to Congress. Congress's Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna and Marjorie Taylor Greene and anybody else who signed on to releasing these bills should work with survivors to make the document whole. And then Thomas Massey or Ro Khanna can read out the names in turns of each of these people on the House floor and be shielded by the speech or debate clause, which shields members of Congress from anything they say on the House or Senate floor. And the work product being working with the survivors and with the documents of the Department of Justice to come to a conclusion on what the public can hear and see, the comprehensive story about everybody who has abused innocent girls and children. And that is something that is a huge, huge thing that Donald Trump and Donald Trump's regime will continue to try to distract from. And a war with a foreign nation is a perfect thing to push to the public in order for the public to start looking at the president as the commander-in-chief and the strong macho man protecting American interests against the big bad Venezuelan wolf. Whereas Donald Trump is himself the wolf in sheep's clothing and is attacking our country from within in the various ways that I just mentioned and so many others. With that said, keep your eyes open. Don't be distracted. Each of these news stories are important and needs to be talked about. Remain vigilant, be kind to one another, and please remember to like, share, and subscribe. I'll talk to you soon.